Who needs the sun when you've got me around? Jaya Ballard, Task Mage, Flavor Text of Melt. The various planes of the multiverse are separated by a cosmic barrier known as the Blind Eternities. A place that is not a place. A world that is not a world. The Blind Eternities can only be traversed by planeswalkers, otherwise normal inhabitants of the multiverse, save for their possession of the mystical Planeswalker's spark. But long ago, before the events of the Mending, Planeswalkers were so much more. Their powers were limited only by their knowledge and imagination, commanding godlike magic that placed them firmly in the realm of legends. But not all legends have legendary beginnings. Jaya Ballard, for instance, did not start out as a wise and powerful pyromancer. No, her life began during the Ice Age as a simple thief, one that attempted to steal from Joda, the Archmage of the School of the Unseen. Joda, noticing the magical potential of this young thief, didn't hold Jaya's attempted burglary against her, and instead taught her the basics of magic and spellcraft at his institution. But despite her talent for magic, Jaya was a rather poor learner, and departed after learning a handful of useful spells. Combining her magical talents with her street smarts, Jaya would travel Dominaria as a magical mercenary, a task mage, doing whatever odd jobs paid best. Years later, Jaya would put her adventurous lifestyle on hold to search for her former mentor. Joda had been kidnapped by his own treacherous subordinates and handed over to the necromancer known as Limdul. Limdul used Findhorn pollen to twist Joda's already strained mind, forcing the Archmage to perform magical research on his behalf. Jaya was able to track down Joda to Limdul's fortress of Tressorhorn and saved the Archmage, only to find a man overwhelmed by madness. Thanks in part to his immortality, Joda had to periodically replenish his mind by storing his memories within a magic mirror. It had been some time since his last use of the artifact, and his already weakened mind was pressed to its limits by Limdul's drugs, leaving Joda a barely sentient man that believed he was a summoned creature. With the help of an amulet, one she had received on one of her adventures as a task mage, Jaya summoned the planeswalker known as Freyalise, who agreed to undo Joda's mental corruption in exchange for the use of his magical mirror and his school's resources. Freyalise, it seemed, wanted to end the Ice Age, and Jaya agreed to her conditions on Joda's behalf. For her part in rescuing Joda, Jaya became intertwined with his ongoing struggle against Limdul. She assisted the Archmage in defending the nation of Keldor from Limdul's assaults. Joda would eventually confront and defeat Limdul, thanks to the intervention of the planeswalker Leshrac, and Dominaria seemed at last free from the necromancer's influence. After the victory, however, Jaya would come across Limdul's ruby ring, still worn on the hand that had been severed during the final confrontation, and took it as a trophy. Unbeknown to the task mage, however, The Ring of Limdul was an accursed object, one that held not just a piece of the necromancer's soul, but also the essence of Mersil, the ancient enemy of Joda, who had been manipulating Limdul ever since he was a low-ranking soldier who had first found the artifact. Sensing another opportunity to seek revenge on Joda, the spirit of Mersil would slowly manipulate Jaya's mind over the course of 20 years. Sometime after Freyalise cast her world spell, ending the Ice Age, Mersil struck, fully possessing Jaya and slitting Joda's throat, using the Archmage's blood to power a spell that activated ancient Phyrexian war machines. Joda battled against his possessed pupil, eventually using his own magic mirror on her, a mirror that had, unbeknown to him, been enchanted by Freyalise to trigger latent planeswalker sparks. In a blast of brilliance, Jaya ascended as a godlike planeswalker. Using her newfound powers, she erased the last bit of Mersil's essence, destroying the ancient evil for good. She then defeated the Phyrexian machines and, before departing Dominaria, handed Joda an amulet that prevented his mental degradation, effectively solving the greatest problem the immortal had. Much of Jaya's life after this point is unknown. Eventually, she visited the plane of Ragatha, where she displayed incredibly powerful pyromancy. Hundreds of years later, after the Mending, Jaya would visit this world again, only to discover that a religion had formed at some point based on her actions and teachings, with the Keral Keep being erected as a monastery that revered her. Feeling somewhat embarrassed, but also responsible for what happened on this world, Jaya decided, in her old age, to stay on Ragatha, becoming the matriarch of Keral Keep under the name of Luti. When another pyromancer planeswalker, the young Chandra Nalar, ended up on Ragatha during her first planeswalk, she found herself welcomed by Mother Luti and the monks of Keral Keep. Seeing promise in Chandra, Jaya, as Luti, did her best to nurture and teach the young girl. Their relationship was strained at times, with Chandra often being downright dismissive of Luti's advice. But even so, they did honestly care for one another, and Luti was always supportive of Chandra's adventures. Sometime after the formation of the Gatewatch, Chandra would go searching for Jaya, knowing only that she was a planeswalker and a pyromancer. After having no luck on her search, Nalar was shocked to discover Mother Luti on Dominaria, where she revealed herself as none other than Jaya Ballard herself. Back on the multiversal stage, Jaya would go on to aid the Gatewatch, first on Dominaria against the Demon Lord Belzenlok and his cabal, and again on Ravnica during the War of the Spark. Despite her willingness to aid the group, Jaya never took an oath of her own, feeling that it wasn't her style and that she wasn't a joiner. After it came to light that New Phyrexia had access to interplanar technology, Jaya returned to her home plane of Dominaria to defend it against Sheoldred's forces, alongside others like Karn, Teferi, Ajani, Joda, and Joyra. As part of the newly reformed coalition, Jaya helped battle Phyrexian infiltrators and even a resurrected Urtai. During the battle at the Mana Rig, Karn asked Jaya to secure the Golgothian Silex and planeswalk away with the artifact. Ballard was able to retrieve the destructive bull, but found it too heavy to planeswalk with. Before another plan to secure the Silex came forward, Jaya found herself under attack. A Johnny had been converted into a Phyrexian sleeper agent at some unknown point and critically wounded Ballard with his axe before flinging her over the side of the Mana Rig. Whether it was the wound or the fall, Jaya was not among the survivors of the battle. In the aftermath, she was mourned greatly by Joda, who had known her for such a long time, as an apprentice and as a friend. With the death of Jaya Ballard, yet another light, a dim spark born in ages past, is snuffed out, and her tale joins the likes of Urza, Freyalise, and Windgrace in the legends of the multiverse. Jaya Ballard is featured on several cards throughout the history of this game, but the first and perhaps most impressive is Jaya Ballard Task Mage. Costing 1 generic mana and 2 red mana, this 2/2 legendary human spellshaper is often regarded as the prototype for Planeswalker cards, featuring 3 different activated abilities that vary in terms of power. Jaya Ballard has been a part of this game for some time, but her death during the finale of the Dominaria United storyline means she may likely never again appear in card form. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed, go ahead and build a Jaya Ballard Oathkeeper deck in her honor, and while you're at it, go ahead and slap that like button and leave a comment below. Subscribe to the channel, share the video with your friends, and if you want to help me out directly, a Patreon link is in the description below. Patrons really do help this channel grow, and I appreciate all of their support. Plus, they get access to all of my lore videos early. Thanks again, and have a great day.